How's it going, Husker Nation? How's everyone doing? Hope you're enjoying as we break into August, as we start fall camp, and as we bring an end to summer, and we get on with the UTEP game, which is 29 days away, by the way. So not much longer to wait. And as that's going on, as we're just getting started in fall camp, I think one of the biggest storylines that is getting extremely overlooked right now by all their sources of Husker media is the kicking situation. Before we go further on that, guys, if you haven't already, take 2 seconds, click like, click subscribe. Helps me out a lot. I appreciate it. So, for some reason, not a lot of other people are really looking at this kicking situation and saying, oh my gosh, we got an issue. But I'm here to tell you, I think, without a doubt, that's an alarming problem. It's a problem we're going to raise the alarm bells on. It's an issue for sure. It's a story and it's an issue. And I know when Rule briefed it in that fall press conference that he was cool and calm and collected. Didn't seem to make a big deal out of it. But it's a big deal. What do you expect him to? What do you expect him to do? Right? He's going to downplay it. He has to. He's the head coach. I know a lot of other media sources out there covering the program have touched on this topic, but no one really seems to be like, oh, it's an issue. It's more like, well, they'll figure it out. I don't think it's that easy, guys. I don't. And I'm here to tell you that I think this is an issue, and here's why. We're in a year, basically. We're coming off of a year. We're coming off many years, number one, of one score of losses. Again, last year, the same beat. We marched to the same beat of the drum last year with all the one score losses. We did it again. And the whole mantra of the offseason, I mean, Nebraska University put out a whole YouTube series called Chasing Three. Chasing Three meaning chasing 3 more points per game, because that would have won a lot of them last year. It definitely would have been bowl eligible. And that was a whole mantra, just 3 more points, chasing 3. And so in the midst of all that, we now have learned that Tristan Alvano, the returning kicker from last year, the sophomore, is not on the fall camp's 120-man roster. He's not on it because he's coming off of groin surgery and he's healing. So medical exemptions are allowed. If someone is injured, they can stay on the roster, but they won't count towards. They won't count. They can be there, but they're not count towards the 120-man fall camp roster. Okay, so Rule has announced he's not part of it. Now, he made it sound like, hey, look, he's going to be healed and ready. He's already working on kicking, and he'll be ready for the season. But you know what Rule said that I think was very key and very important that I haven't heard anyone else touch on? There's a very specific word Rule used when he said that. He said, we expect him to get back in the next couple of weeks and compete for the starting position. Now, obviously, as it is with all fall camps, you say, yeah, they're going to compete. It's always an open competition for position. But come on, let's be real. Before that press conference, did anyone really think Alvano wasn't going to be the kicker going into the year? Let's be real. No one did. No one was saying that, at least. So it's a big deal. And Rule even said if he comes back, it's not guaranteed to be, the lead kicker. And here's the reason why. He struggled a lot last year, guys. He struggled a lot last year. Freshman year, so you say, okay. But then we have the spring game, and what's he do in the spring game? Oh my gosh. Yeah. He attempted 3 field goals. He only made 1. The other 2 were pretty bad misses. Okay. So, yeah, unless he improved a lot over the fall or the summer, which didn't sound like he did because he had groin surgery, and then it's going to be an issue. And generally, you're not coming off of a kind of surgery like that and probably coming back stronger. So if he wasn't in his best form before, I mean, there's a lot of question marks on this position, guys, and it's scary, okay? Last year, let's talk about how we did last year, okay? A couple games. We can work backwards, I guess, on this. The Iowa game. We lost 13-10 to Iowa last year, and he missed a field goal. Could have tied it. He could have had an overtime game. Who knows, right? He missed his only field goal attempt versus Wisconsin last year. He missed his field goal attempts versus Michigan last year. He missed a field goal versus Louisiana Tech. He missed 2 field goals versus Colorado. And overall, he was 60% on field goals last year. 60%. It's a little better over half. You're flipping a coin basically every time he lines up to kick a field goal, and that's not what you want. That's not in the Big Ten when every game is coming down to the wire. Every game is coming down to a possession. Field goals matter, and 60% is not going to cut it. Okay. Now again, the spring game, he only made 1 out of 3. That's 33%. 33% of field goals. Now he was 100% on extra points last year, so that's good. But again, the field goals, that 60% number looms large. So in the offseason, Nebraska brought in a freshman, recruited a freshman kicker, and I think since the spring game, they brought in a transfer kicker from Iowa Western. So let's first talk about the freshman they signed, Nico Ottamanelli. He's out of Harrington Park, New Jersey. 6'2", 185 pounds, what he's listed at. He's going to be a true freshman if he were to play. I don't know what the plan is with that. Now, he did pretty good in high school. He was considered one of the top kicking prospects in the Northeast, and he was 14 of 17 field goals in his high school career. So that's better than 60%. I don't got the percentage off the top of my head, but it's better than 60. Now it's high school. And as a senior, he made 6 of 8, 48 extra points, and he kicked a 50-yard school record field goal as well. So he's got a leg. And so, I don't know. Nico Armanelli may be someone that you look at this year and saying, hey, we have a new kicker back there. And it could be the case that Alvano comes back and he's competing with Nico Armanelli. And if that's the case, you know how rule is, and I hope that's true, and I have a full-on competition for that job as there should be, because we need someone we can rely on. I mean, no one's ever going to be completely automatic, especially at longer ranges, but anything inside 35, should be automatic, and it hasn't been. It's been problematic. Then we brought in transfer kicker John Hull. John Hull's 180 pounds, 6 foot. He was a redshirt freshman over at Iowa Western. He was there for a year. He didn't play. Okay, he didn't play, so I can't go back and look at that tape for you guys and tell you what we're getting. But he was considered the top transfer kicker after they had that kicking showcase in the spring. So he received offers from the Huskers. He received an offer from Coastal Carolina, and he chose Nebraska. That's where he's at now. So, his senior year in high school, Lincoln Southwest. He's from Lincoln kid, right? Coming home. So we got a hometown kid here, another one. Because Alvano, you got to remember, is from Nebraska too. Nico Armanelli, he's from New Jersey. So, Hull is from Nebraska, and in his senior year, he made 3 out of 3 field goals, so he didn't attempt a whole lot of them. So I don't know. I think regardless of where Alvano's at, I think regardless of if he comes back from his injury fairly quickly, there has to be an open competition for this job. There's no question about it. It's the same thing with the QBs. We can all sit there and say Raiola should be the starter, but you have to not tell him that, and you have to challenge all 3 of those full quarterbacks now, scholarship quarterbacks, every dang day until about a week or so before camp before you're going to let someone run and run with the starting job, right? Because the iron sharpens iron. It's maybe cliche, but it's true. And it has to be the same way with the kicking position, regardless if Alvano is completely healthy next week. You have to have a competition. He was inconsistent at best last year. He was abysmal in the spring game, and we have to improve that position. There's no doubt about it. We have to eventually break through, start winning these one-score games, and a kicker is absolutely instrumental to that. Make no doubt about it. So this is a big deal, guys. Absolutely a big deal. There's no question about it. There's a deeper layer to this conversation as well, and it's kind of maybe just a theory more than anything, but it's possible that Alvano's not on the 120-man roster because of the groin, and although the groin thing is true, it's more like Rule also saying, hey, that's also our excuse to kind of move to the side, and maybe he's already looked at Nico Manelli or John Hull and said, hey, we're going with one of these 2, or maybe he's already pegged one of them and said, hey, this is who we're going with this year. Maybe they've already silently moved on from Alvano. I don't know that to be true. I've got no inside sources, guys, tell me anything like that, but I'm telling you that's a possibility as well. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me, okay? Now, if you like this video today, guys, check out my website, redwhitecornsports.com. I had an article on this as well. Like again, subscribe if you haven't. Please visit my website, check us out on Twitter, and stay tuned for more content like this. Go Big